Hello everyone, my name is Bao, and today I'm going to tell you about building a nation. Introduction. In 1776, delegates from the 13 British colonies in North America signed the Declaration of Independence, proclaiming that they were free and independent of Great Britain's rule. At the same time, the colonies declared itself a confederation of states, united for one common cause. They called the Union of the United States of America. This new union of states needed to be devise a system of governments. Delegates from the original 13 colonies, now are called states, began to fashion a plan for a working central government. It would take 5 years for this plan to be firmly established within the new Union of States because the War of Independence from Great Britain continued. However, it would take another 4 years and another war with Great Britain for this new union to be truly united. The Articles of the Confederation. In 1776, delegates appointed by each state to the Second Continental Congress agreed to send a new plan for government to each state for review. For the plan to work, it would need to be ratified by all 13 states. The document detailing the plan would become known as the Articles of Confederation. It did not refer to the United States as a nation, but as a firm league of friendship between the 13 sovereign states. This document outlined a weak federal government and a strong state government. The states got the authority and freedom they had under the Articles. Each state has its own constitution and printed its own currency. Okay, to make things start, this was the new land after the United States won the Revolutionary War. The former was only from here. Do you see that? Here, there. I don't know how to draw with, this, but just say it only was here. And the rest was the expanding land after the United States won the war. So it was okay, yes. The Articles of Confederation granted the federal government to the United States no authority, no freedom to act on its own, and no single leader to speak for the Union. Oops, sorry. Let's check it. And the United States had incurred debts from the war, but Congress, the one branch of federal government, created the Articles, did not have the authority to tax people to collect revenue to pay their debts. Only the states have the power to tax their citizens. The lack of power to tax would prove to be one of the fatal flaws of the Articles of Confederation. Another flaw is that no one executive was in charge. A president could be elected to oversee the proceedings of Congress, but had no power to make decisions. Congress also did not have the power to change the Articles. If the Union States decided something about the plan was not working, 9 out of 13 states had to agree to changes in the Articles for those changes to be legal. It would take several years after the approval by the states for flaws in the Articles of Confederation to become apparent. The Treaty of Paris. It took almost 5 years for all 13 states to overcome their differences and improve the Articles. Maryland was the state of Maryland was the last to ratify the document. In 1781, the major fighting of the Revolutionary War ceased by U.S. General George Washington's victory over British General Charles Cornwallis at Yorktown, Virginia. But the war itself wasn't officially over for another 2 years. Representatives from the United States and Great Britain discussed peace terms in Paris, the capital of France, from the middle 1782 until the Treaty of Paris, also called the Peace of Paris, was signed on September 3, 1783. Only then had the war officially ended. The peace treaty established two important ideas. It recognized the United States as a sovereign country independent from Great Britain. It also set the boundaries of the United States, which include all the land from the Atlantic Ocean west to the Mississippi River, with the exception of New Orleans and the Floridas, which Spain controlled. The northern boundary was set at the Great Lakes and along the borders of Quebec and Nova Scotia. Both are part of British-controlled Canada. When you see the treaty, it was me here. This is the map, except for this part in the west. But this was the Mississippi River. You see that? It doesn't show, but the border was along the Mississippi River. Money problems. Once the Revolutionary War was over and the Treaty of Paris signed, the United States experienced severe financial problems. Soldiers headed home, poor and exhausted. The government has no money, no power to tax, so many of the veterans cannot be paid for the service. But even bigger financial headache faced the new nation: war debts. The nation had borrowed more than $76 million from foreign countries, individual Americans, and state banks to finance the war. In Massachusetts, financial issues inspired a rebellion. Farmers who fought for independence could not pay their debts and lost their farms. Some that were in prison. In 1786, Daniel Chase, a former Revolutionary War captain, and about 1,000 farmers and other workers marched on Springfield, Massachusetts, and then proceeded to Boston. The U.S. Army supported them there, and gunfire was exchanged. Some of the workers were tried and hanged, while others were not punished. Shays' rebellions inspired similar conflicts in Connecticut, New York, and Pennsylvania, and persuaded many citizens and leaders that had a stronger federal government was needed to address the issue. Okay. Constitutional Convention. To solve the many problems in the United States, 55 men arrived in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, for a meeting at the Grand Hall in May 1787. The initial goal of the meeting was to modify the Articles of Confederation to make the federal government stronger. Instead of merely expanding the Articles, however, the delegates agreed to draft a constitution that would establish executed to leave the Union, grant Congress the power to tax, and created a way to amend the government document. 12 out of 13 states sent delegates. Rhode Island declined the invitation. Each delegate was an influential leader in his own state and was also known as a leader in the new Union. All the delegates were wealthy, educated white men. The delegates elected George Washington to preside over the meeting, which became known as the Constitutional Convention. The convention would last for several weeks. Debates over revision to the Articles of Confederation raised tempers on two issues. The delegates developed a compromise on both representatives.